Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, and today we are going to talk about why self-hate is the worst motivator on the planet and why you need to let it go. Alright? So, obviously this channel has been all about self-love, right? And all about getting off the self-improvement train and all about moving towards self-love, body love, personal acceptance, all of this stuff. And we've touched on this in many different kind of angles, right? And today I thought, let's just say it how it is so that we can start to a little bit move on, okay? So with so many of the self-help things out there, I think I see this especially in the fitness community, and really a lot in the life coaching community and the self-improvement community and the just the personal growth communities and people who are really trying to kind of change their lives. There is this incredibly strong and pervasive idea that self-hate is a good motivator. And so when we look at self-hate, okay, or things that we find intolerable about ourselves, things that we don't like about ourselves, things like, right, you don't like your body, you don't like your personality, you don't like how you yell at your wife, you don't like how you're lazy, you don't like how you can't stick to anything, you don't like how you feel like you lack discipline, you don't like how you are in social situations, right? And so much of the advice out there encourages you to really look at these things in yourself as problems, number one, right? Like these things are problems. There is something wrong with your body. There is something wrong with your personality. There's something wrong with the way that you behave. There's something wrong with the way that you think. There's something wrong with the way that you feel. And then to start to like really look at that so that you can fix it and change it, right? And so really at the end of the day, this is saying like look at how miserable you feel inside your body and use that to motivate you to change your body. Look at the negative results you get when you yell at your wife and use that to, kind of guilt yourself into changing, right? And there is this very common misconception that guilt works as a motivator, that self-hate works as a motivator, that having no tolerance for the things that you find to be flaws inside yourself works to help you change. And the truth is, that is impossible. That does not work for anybody. Now, I want you to take a step back and I want you to critically think for a moment. When the last time you hated something in yourself actually motivated you to make a permanent positive life change? Like literally it helps you to permanently alter the way that you eat food so that you feel awesome 99.99% of the time. That permanently got you to alter the way that you speak to your wife. Like you no longer even consider yelling at her or your husband or snapping or whatever, right? Think about how your disdain for your lack of social skills has gotten you to be a social superstar. Okay, now I'm willing to bet that if you actually critically look at this, every time you've tried to change yourself from a place of hating what already was there, you have not been able to make the change, or you've been able to make the change for a period of time, and then you thought it was working, right? It looked like it was working, your diet was working, your thing was working for a little bit, and then something happened and you got triggered and you fell off the wagon and you couldn't get back on, right? So now you've convinced yourself that, no, the self-hate did work. Right? I was making changes. I was making progress. I was moving in the right direction. All these things. I lost the weight for a period of time, right? I was able to change. I was able to do the thing. But then I just fell off the wagon. And now it's like, I just lack willpower. I just lack discipline. There's just something wrong with me that I can't keep doing it. No, that's not what happened. The thing is, it didn't actually work, right? So just like in my fake growth video, which I'll put a link to down below, fake growth is something that you have to keep white knuckling to make happen. You have not actually made a change until it's now your new normal to be the way that you are. Okay? So literally until your way of eating, until your way of interacting with the people around you, until the way that you socialize, until the way that you are becomes the new natural thing that you can't even imagine going back to what you were doing before. You can't imagine going back to the self-sabotaging behavior. You can't even imagine going back to eating the foods that didn't make you feel good. You can't even imagine going back to talking to people the way that you used to. The change hasn't happened. True transformation means you no longer identify with that old behavior. There's nothing inside of you that makes you want to do that. Literally. Okay? That's what it means when you've actually changed. So can you tell me, honestly, that any change you've ever tried to make that was motivated from a place of disdain for yourself created a lasting, permanent, positive change in your life where you now feel better in your life and no longer deal with that issue that you were trying to deal with? Okay? And I'm willing to bet that it's not true. You either are white knuckling it to stick to your technique that keeps you, doing the new thing, and you fall off all over and over and over again, or you fell off the wagon and you don't know how to get back on. Okay. The reason that's happening is because when you go from a place of self-hate, when you move from a place of self-disdain, when you are not accepting who you are as a human being, when you don't love yourself, you are in a state of fear. Period. End of story. That's it. You are in a state of fear. When you are attacking yourself, when you are looking at your faults, when you are ripping yourself to shreds, when you are trying to discipline yourself, when you are trying to get yourself to do something to be different, when you are looking at all your flaws and taking account of all the mistakes you made today so that you can do better tomorrow, you are in a state of fear. End of story. There is no other way to say it. And now, you understand that when you are in a state of fear, change is impossible. When you are in a state of self-hate or self-intolerance, when you are looking at your flaws, you are in a state of fear. When you are in a state of fear, change is impossible. Change cannot happen. You go into lockdown. Okay? And that is why you will always choose either the thing that doesn't actually work, right? When you're in a state of fear and you're trying to change yourself from a state of fear, you will inevitably choose things that don't work and not understand why they don't work. Or you will choose something that does work and you won't be able to stick to it. You will sabotage yourself over and over and over again. Okay? You will sabotage yourself over and over and over again. And you will think, oh man, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I just do this? Like, see, this just proves how shitty I am. This just reinforces how much I hate myself. This just reinforces how, incapable I am. And that is a horrible cycle to be in, but it is what will happen. Because when you're in a state of fear, your subconscious is going to do everything in its power to keep you exactly where you are. Because when you're in a state of fear, your body and your mind and your subconscious thinks that you are under physical, life-threatening attack. Okay? And so it wants to create an environment that is completely predictable. When you are in a state of fear, you will create an environment over and over and over again. That's exactly the same as the environment you had yesterday, the same environment as you had a year ago, the same environment that you had 10 years ago, right? If you start to look at this stuff, like these things about yourself that you've been trying to change for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you're still having the same experience of it every single fucking day. Because that's what your subconscious is trying to do. It's trying to protect you from death by keeping your life exactly the same. By keeping your experience exactly the same. No matter how horrible it is, no matter how painful it is, it's helping you stay in a state of status quo because that's predictable and you can survive it. It doesn't matter how horrible it is. It's familiar. And that's all that matters to you when you're in a state of fear. When you are in a state of fear, all that matters to you is predictability and familiarity. So you are going to have the same emotional experience, the same mental experience, the same, over and over and over. Because your subconscious is not going to let you move on to something different, to something new, because that's threatening. So do you see now? There is no way that you are ever going to be able to get yourself to a new place when you are starting from a place of hating where you are, and hating who you are, and hating what you are. It's never going to work. because that puts you in a state of fear, which puts you in a state of lockdown, which means you are going to do everything in your subconscious power to keep your life exactly how it is. That's it. Self-hate doesn't work. You can't look at yourself and take stock of all that you did today that was wrong and think that that's going to help you do something different tomorrow. It's not. It's never going to work. And so the fear that comes up for most people when I say you have to love who you are exactly where you are right now, you have to start to embrace the part of you that doesn't know how to eat good. You have to embrace and love the part of you that yells at your wife, that is inappropriate in social situations. You have to embrace all the things about yourself that you've been trying to change for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you have to love them. You have to love them. Most people say, well, no, I don't want to do that, because if I love myself in my shitty body, I'm going to be stuck in my shitty body forever. If I love myself in my, bad social conduct, I'm going to be like that forever, and I'll never have friends, and like all of these fears, right? Okay, but the truth is, again, take a critical look. Are you actually not stuck in that right now? Or are you currently actually stuck in that? Have you been able to make a change? And if not, then your worst fear is already happening. The real truth is that by hating yourself, you guarantee that you will never change. You guarantee that you will be stuck in it for the rest of your life. You guarantee yourself the same experience over and over and over again, and it cannot change, and it will not change. That is the bottom line. When you're on a self-hate or a self-improvement path, you are stuck with what you got. Change is impossible. So, be a critical thinker. Be willing to take the risk to try something new. Because what you're doing isn't working, and it isn't going to work. It's not because you lack discipline. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because it works for everyone else and it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for anybody. Some people can white knuckle it a little bit longer than others and make it look like it's working. And this is the other thing too, even if you're able to white knuckle your way to get results that you want, you're going to end up not yelling at your wife, or in your new body, or in your new job, or in your new whatever, and you're still going to feel like you feel right now. That's the thing. You're still going to feel not good enough. You're going to still feel bad. You're going to still feel wrong. You're still going to feel not good. Because even if the external circumstances change, you're going to have the same experience on the inside. That's how this works. That's how this works. Nothing can change if you don't step into love first. Okay? From a state of love. From a state of, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I love the one who yelled at my wife. I'm going to love and have compassion for the one that wants to eat all the cookies and cupcakes. I'm going to love and have compassion for the part of me that does all these things that I think are so horrible. Number one, you're gonna start to get new understanding about why you're doing what you're doing. So, because this is the other thing. When you're stuck in self-hate, there is no way that you're going to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You think you understand why you're doing what you're doing, but if you actually understood why you were doing what you're doing, if you really understood why you're doing your self-sabotaging behavior, if you really understood why you were yelling at your wife all the time, if you really actually understood what was going on with you, you'd be able to change it. So, you don't understand right now. When you're in a state of fear and trying to change something within yourself that you hate, you don't understand it. If you hate something in yourself, if you detest something in yourself, if you don't have compassion for something in yourself, you do not understand it. And therefore you cannot change it. You cannot change anything you don't understand. So when you start to love these parts of yourself, you're going to gain new understanding. You release resistance so that you can know things that you don't know right now. And from those new perspectives, you're going to be able to make actual positive lasting change. That's what's going to happen when you love yourself. You're not just going to sit around and eat cupcakes for the rest of your life. I promise you. You're not going to just be the guy that just yelled at his wife all the time. You're not going to get caught in your shitty behavior for the rest of your life. You're already in that. That's what's happening now. So if you want something different, you have to do something different. And the first thing is you need to relax your resistance to what's going on with you so that you can gain a new understanding of it. And from that new understanding, you're going to have inspiration, you're going to have new perspectives, new ways of being, so that literally you're able to transform in a way that your new behavior that facilitates your joy and your expansion and your health and your experience of this life as awesome is natural. Because that's what you want. You don't want to get on a program that only works when you're like trying really hard to make it work. It needs to be natural. If it's not natural, if it doesn't become easy at some point, you'll always fall off. And the only way to make that happen is to move from a state of love, right? And again, you got to understand that, at the end of the day, the things that you don't like about yourself are the things that you think are blocking you from being happy. They're just the things that you think are blocking you from being connected, are blocking you from having what you want. And now, that's not really true, okay? So you need to go investigate, what are these things actually doing? Why are they there? What's really going on? Is self-hate actually working? Or is it keeping you stuck? And then the next thing is, if it's keeping you stuck, know that your resistance to loving this part of yourself is going to be strong, right? You're going to be scared to love this part of yourself. You're going to have every excuse in the book that tells you that this is the wrong thing to do, that it's scary, bad, wrong, do not love this part of yourself, okay? Know that that's going to happen, and then go and have compassion for yourself anyways. Stop making your checklists. Stop making your to-do list. Stop making your self-improvement list. Stop reading the self-improvement books. Stop watching the self-improvement videos. Get off all that shit. And just start to say, no, I just want to understand. I just want to understand. I'm going to soften, I'm going to have compassion, and I just want to understand. Because from that place, you will be able to transform to literally live in a way that's natural for you, which is health and happiness and abundance and everything that you want. That's what's going to happen. Okay? These parts of yourself that are sabotaging you are parts that are calling for love. And until you love them, they are going to sabotage you. And when you do love them, they will be the wellspring of your desire to live in alignment with yourself. It will be easy to eat well. It will be easy to be nice to the people around you. It will be easy to be in a social situation. It will be easy to do the work you know you need to do. That's what's going to happen. Life starts to flow. It won't require so much effort. This right here, right now, what you're doing, this is the hardest thing. To hate yourself and try and get through your day is literally the hardest way to live. Everything else is easier. The self-love path is easier. You get over that little hump in the beginning that says don't love yourself because then you're going to get stuck being this way. Realize that you're already stuck being this way. You need to try something different. You're in a state of fear, therefore you're in a state of lockdown. You don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, and therefore you can't change it. You're stuck here, okay? So, relax. Bring compassion to every part of yourself. Commit, right? Realize, just be like, yeah, this self-hate thing is not working. Self-improvement, not working. Get off all of it. Stop following all those people, okay? Stop following those Instagram posts. Stop following those videos. Stop listening to the people who are harsh and mean and tell you need to look at your shit and all this. Stop it. Get off all of it. It doesn't work. It's never going to work. They don't understand energy and energetics. Okay? Love who you are in this moment. Decide you're going to look for understanding. Bring compassion where you've always brought judgment. And that is how you transform your life. And then, like I say, living in alignment with yourself, where you're healthy and happy and holy, is natural and easy. It's natural and easy. It won't require discipline. It won't require you work really hard. It will just be easy. And that's how you know that growth has happened, right? When it's easy, when it's natural, second nature, normal, all right? So that's the end of that. Try this for yourself. Try the self-love meditation, the ultimate self-love meditation. I've linked it down below. So if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Join us in Patreon. We meet 3 times a month, and it's very fun and enlightening, and we talk about stuff like this all the time. So if you like this stuff, we get really deep into it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.